Yeah, Frank here has got his own billiard room.
Yes, it's what do you call it, Kramer?
Billiard room.
No, not billiard, not the billiards. It was
billiards room.
Come on already. Come on, we call it the
place to be.
The place to be. Yes, the place to be.
Then I shall be there.
Now, it's time. Live and in living color.
The Grandy Man can.
Time to play the game.
Well, you always left me satisfied and smiling, so.
That's what she said.
Why do I want this? I want to make bank, bro. I want to get ass. I want to drive a Range Rover.
Place to be Nation, Scott Criscola and Justin Rosero. This is the Place to Be Podcast.
Very nice, Mr. Crisbola.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis.
Isn't that what I just said? What is wrong with you?
Is it the Pelicans? I didn't know it was the Pelicans.
Oh,
I know nothing about the word Pelicans.
Yes.
I worked during the fucking day, okay? Well, then what's the point of...
Scott Russo. What would be the point of that?
What's the point of giving her the Rockers theme? I don't know! You know what? I'm from now on just going to read. And if you want to comment, be my guest.
Just read things that are up to date. How about that?
Just shut up. I'm done. I'm not talking about it.
I don't know what the fuck the Department of Health is.
To do worse than Josh Richard.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back to another great episode of the one and only Place to Be Podcast. I am your co-host, Justin Rosero. The holiday season is in our rearview mirror for the most part. We got one more holiday day to get through, and that is, of course, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But we are here, and I'm here in the PTB Man Cave with my PIC, Scott Criscola. Scott, how you doing?
JR, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, sir. Welcome, PTB Nation, to episode 185 of the Place to Be Podcast, the final show of the calendar year 2012. We've had some high points. We've had a shitload of low points, that's for sure. But it's time to kick this year out and start the new one in 2013 this week. But this is our final show. Now, JR, a little history. Do you remember our episode number? I know I told it to you during the pre-production, but we'll go with it.
Okay. I was going to play it up, too, like I didn't know. So now you blew
our
it.
first, that's all right. January 3rd, 2012 was our first episode of 2012. 94. It was it was a headline show back when we were doing weekly cornucopia of fun and games, and our wild card picks for the start of last year's playoffs. Here were the playoff games. Just as a quick reminder, this weekend, of course, began the run of our guys, Dr. G and the Tower of Terror's beloved Big Blue run to the Super Bowl, when the Giants beat the Falcons 24-2.
And I remember I picked Atlanta because I was still angry about the Giants beating the Jets. So I was like bitter about it. So I remember picking Atlanta.
Yes, the Christmas Eve game. Forgot about that.
And that basically blew up my whole playoff predictions.
The Saints hammered the Lions 45-28 down at the Superdome. The Texans blew out the Bengals 31-10. And yes, you wished you had seen this at some point this year. Tim Tebow's close my eyes and hope this goes to somebody throwing overtime as the Broncos beat the Steelers in overtime. That was Wild Card Weekend a year ago. Wild Card Weekend this year is next weekend. And
you'll be in the house. You'll be in the man cave.
Yes, next weekend, our first visit, of course, making up for the fact I didn't come for the first time since 2003. First time I did not come to Rhode Island. Thanksgiving weekend, of course, we had a lot of unfortunate events go on. We all know about it. I don't want to get into it, but I will be here for the first weekend of 2013.
And a lot of stuff planned, and then maybe a little treat to kick off the year for you, PTB Nation, with Scott here in the house. We'll see.
Yes, we'll see. But as we sometimes have, JR, when we are recording podcasts, usually unexpected sports moments seem to happen when you and I are on. It goes back to the awesome ending of last baseball season when the Yankees Tampa Bay won on the Evan Longoria walk-off, and Carl Crawford tripped over himself, and fell to pieces.
Now, normally, though, we don't do it with Vintage Vault. Usually we'll do it on either headlines or if we have some other kind of show going on. But this is a very important night for you, PIC, so we're going to allow it. We're going to let it go. And, of course, your Dallas Cowboys are playing the Washington Redskins to determine who's going to the playoffs. Kyle Forschetti in the house.
Yes.
Down in D.C. So,
yes.
Important game, so we'll allow your updates. And even though it's going to date this, and we like to keep the Vintage Vaults fresh and clean, As my New Year's gift to you, my friend. We'll allow it.
Well, only scoring updates. I'm not going to do just completed a fort. No, just
you're
scores.
not going to bitch about every play like I do for the Jets games.
No.
Okay.
No. I'll only because I. Nah, I won't do that.
Okay.
Because this is a special vault tonight. Because this is one of our favorite shows. Well, for the most part, great main event.
Right.
We'll see how the undercard goes. It's a Sunday, by the way. So is he even here? He's on vacation. He shouldn't be in here. So
who? Rotella?
No, going in the vault.
Hey! What is going on here?
Jesus Christ, Tubby! It's vacation. The fuck out
He's
of
never
here.
on vacation.
God, Dumbo. All right. Tonight, episode 185 of the Place to Be podcast, Inside V Squared. God, I feel like we haven't done a vault in God knows how long.
I know, right?
This show, about as long as our last podcast. It is a mano y mano, JR. A battle of wills. The
Will
champ.
Smith?
Oh, yeah. Big Willie style.
Have everything by him.
The champ versus the boss.
I can see by the way you look at me, Vince, you can't stand the fact that I like to drink a few beers. You can't stand the fact that I do this every now and then, that I do this every now and then, that I use colorful language. Stand the fact. You can't stand the fact. You can't stand the fact.
You must conform. Defiance will not be tolerated. Conform. You must respect authority.
Who the hell do you think you are?
You will comply.
Who the hell do you think you are?
You must conform.
Ladies and gentlemen, dude! Ah!
Compliance is good.
Now I'm proud to say I know exactly who I am. Who the hell do you think you are? Vince McMahon might have stacked the cards against Stone Cold Steve Austin by having a little timekeeper. The esteemed Gerald Briscoe. A bell ringer. Hall of Famer. And himself as a special referee. You think there's a conspiracy, folks?
You must respect authority.
Vince McMahon, I know you hate my guts, and I feel the same way about you. Who the hell do you think you are?
Defiance will be punished.
This man just qualified Austin as a competitor for the Briscoe! Damn me!
You must conform.
It's Austin against the world here.
You will comply. Welcome to Mr. McMahon's Utopia.
This is my arena.
Sky, I can't tell you how many times I watched that back in 1998.
Oh, my God.
We just used to loop it and loop it and loop it.
It is one of the most incredibly awesome pay-per-view opens ever. Anything involving Vince is incredibly awesome. And let me tell you something. Over the next, 7 years of pay-per-views or something, anything that predominantly involves Vince is awesome in just so many ways. And that was the beginning. Because now you're starting to feel the real feud that is the backbone of what will be what is the Attitude Era. Tonight, in the Place to Be podcast, inside the Vintage Vault, Over the Edge, 1998.
God, I love that opening.
Oh, it's awesome.
Between the music and the lady in the background, the subliminal messages, and just the clips of Austin and Vince alone, it's just and you can really start to feel the hatred. Like leading into Unforgiven, it was more of, okay, this guy doesn't want this guy's champion. The boss doesn't care for his attitude. It wasn't really that hate yet. Mm-hmm. Over these last 4 weeks leading into this show is when that hate really started to brew between these two guys. And this is where you really start to feel a lot of the angst.
Yes, and easily as well, from a creative perspective, you start seeing the real chemistry that these two have together, whether it's in promos or eventually in the ring, but that's a little bit further down the line. But you could tell that these two had been sitting down in meetings and just for a while now, planning out how they wanted this whole thing to go. Mm-hmm. Now I know the Attitude Era was a lot of, last minute stuff and a lot of gotchas and a lot of spontaneity, but this I think was planned. They definitely, maybe not the promos, but at least the step-by-step way of making sure that it came off well. I think that
right, and it definitely was organic. Like I said, before Mania, Vince kind of said, I don't really want this guy's champion. After Mania, tries to get him to conform, tries to get him to fall in line, and they have their little issues, and they have the fake match leading into Unforgiven, and but now it's just developed as full on. Vince wants the title off this guy. Austin hates McMahon, and McMahon's letting it known that he hates Austin. So just a lot of good stuff leading into the show.
Yes. All right.
And also the first time that WWF is really in charge. We talked about that Raw that broke the Nitro rating streak, and then back and forth a little bit. But this is where WWF finally feels like, maybe not in charge, but at least on equal footing to WCW. Before this point, even though the product is arguably better at times, this is now where you can say these two promotions are really neck and neck again for the first time since mid '96.
Yeah. Definitely over the last few months, WCW hadn't done anything to screw up yet. Let's put it that way.
No, I mean they were getting lazy, but the programming was still fine. They still had some hot angles. They still had sold out buildings, and Goldberg was really building, and they had the Wolfpack, which you can look back and question. Was it a good move? Probably not, but it was over as hell at that point. So I mean, they still had a lot of hot acts. And they still had a lot of big things going on. Again, another thing that you can say what you want about it, but the Jay Leno stuff. I mean, that and the Karl Malone and Rodman, but that stuff drew. I mean, they had a lot of mainstream eyes on it, so they still had big things cooking over there. But now we have two red hot promotions for a while now.
Well, the WWF took that blueprint of using celebrities and what have you. The difference is Vince wasn't stupid enough to have these guys wrestle.
Well, I think Tyson would have wrestled. I think he couldn't get him cleared.
Well, yeah, I don't know how pretty it would have been, but
I think he would have. I think if he could have gotten Tyson cleared, I think he would have done Austin Tyson at Mania. I really do.
That petrifies me.
I mean, it worked out for them having Austin. I think they could have. I think we talked about this when we did Mania, but I think they could have done Austin Tyson at Mania and done. I mean, obviously they weren't sure that was Michaels' last match at the time, but I think they would have probably gotten to Austin Michaels at Unforgiven and had him win the title there.
Probably. Would that have ruined the? Well, we won't get into that.
I think we talked about a Mania, and I don't think it would have. I mean, it was a great moment, but I think the Austin Tyson match could have been an equally great moment.
Yeah. But fortunately, at least in my opinion, it didn't happen. But all right. But yeah, the WCW is not screwed up to the point where they're lagging, but now WWF's product is really good.
Right. WCW hasn't even dipped backwards. It's just WWF has caught them.
Is catching up, exactly. Yeah. And in my opinion, I'll let you know. Not I'll let you know, but
okay.
In my opinion,
you tell me.
Yeah, no. In my opinion, I'll decide. How do I word this? I'll decide.
Yeah, okay.
Me and Briscoe.
You will let us know when the war is
I'll
over.
give my opinion on when WWF officially took the lead.
Yeah, it's a little while away, but I mean, at this point, like I said, they've caught up, and the audience of wrestling has expanded and ballooned. So it hasn't been like people are switching from WCW. It's just that WWF has, maybe some have, but overall, they're just gaining viewers, and the viewership in wrestling as a whole is really starting to build now, and we'll see that bubble continue to go and grow over the next couple of years.
Yes. All right.
All right.
May 31st, 1998, live from the Wisconsin Center Arena in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was wrong when I first opened up I thought that this was at the Bradley Center again, and we wouldn't have to do the history because, of course, we already have been there.
Incorrect, sir.
96 King of the Ring, but I forgot this is actually a brand new arena, so we have to do a little history. I've never even heard of this building. Well, I remember it then.
The Mecca?
Is this the Mecca, and they just rechanged the name of it?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't remember them. I thought they knocked the Mecca down, so I didn't realize this was the same building. Okay.
Mecca Ekafor?
Mecca Ekafor, yes. So the Mecca, of course, the old school building in the Milwaukee area. Of course, the Bucks played there many, many years. In fact, in the 80s, it was cool watching the NBA because the Bucks would have this weird court that didn't look like wood, which is like my high school court. It was like this kind of firm.
That would have angered Mr. Woodchuck. He prefers wood.
Yes, exactly. And I know I wasn't going to do this, but the Redskins almost had a chance to take the lead, but the kicker bonked after a Romo pick, he bonked a field goal off the goalpost, so it's still no score. The Mecca was where the Bucks played for many years. I think Marquette played there, but
well, it opened in April 1950 as was named the Milwaukee Arena, named the Mecca in 1974, and then the Wisconsin Center Arena in 95. So, yes, the Bucks play there. The Milwaukee Wave still play there, actually, the MISL. The Milwaukee Panthers of the NCAA played there till last year. Used to host the Horizon League Championship every now and then. Milwaukee Iron of the AFL. Milwaukee Hawks, the NBA, there for 4 years. The Bucks played there till 88. Milwaukee Admirals of the IHL, the Marquette Warriors played there from 74 to 89. And Milwaukee Bone Crushers of the CIFL played there for a year. So Mecca still stands today.
Okay, I stand corrected. I thought it got knocked down when the Bradley Center opened.
The Milwaukee Panthers left and moved back to the Klotchke Center on campus.
Yes, Milwaukee. Yes, it's Wisconsin. Milwaukee. I actually just watched them a couple weeks ago play Fairfield.
A lot of bands played here, Scott.
I would think so.
Can we go through it? There's about 300. No. You know who the first one was? Any guess? September 4th, 64?
Elvis.
No. One more shot. It was a group.
It was a group. It wasn't the Beatles.
Yes.
I think they stopped. Was it the Beatles? Okay.
And then listen to this first 5, okay? So, first 4. This tells you how hot this arena was. From 64 till 73. The Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Doors, and Led Zeppelin.
That's a murderer's row of incredible bands.
Any guess who the most recent one? Well, honestly, I don't know if this is like all concerts or just like a list of people who played there. But in June 8th, 2012, any guess who played there?
Jeez.
Yeah, I will.
Carly Rae Jepsen.
I will wash and wax your car when you arrive here next Saturday or next Friday night if you can guess who this is.
Carly Rae Jepsen. No, I have no idea. Who? Oh, damn it!
Little new edition, baby.
Men on a Mission played there?
Yes, Oscar wrapped.
Oscar wrapped. Well, they're throwing batteries at him?
Yes.
Jeez.
Oscar, right. Mabel, and Mo.
Oh, your attendance? 9,822. Not, all right. They're still kind of weeding out those, the way they booked in the mid-90s with small crowds and stuff.
All right, well, this actually held for indoor soccer, 9,500, basketball, 10,783, and the max of 12,700. So they're probably close to a sellout for the setup. Plus, don't forget, they had a pretty big set in the entranceway.
Yes, they did. And the crowd is pretty fired up for this show. So size, in this case, mattered little. Your buy rate, 0.58, and your announcers, the voices of the Attitude Era, good old JR, Jim Ross, and Jerry the King Waller. All right. I've been looking forward to this because I've been looking forward to doing this opening match because this is a slate cleaner for me in terms of this team.
You're all a real man can need and never ask for it. This is love. This is more than a crush. Yeah, it was Harlem at the Ruckers. I saw you with your man, smiling, a Coach bag in your hand. I was laying in the coop with my hat turned back.
Were you laying in the coop?
No coach bag at no coach bag at Rutgers. I'm very upset. Hate this match. Hate this feud. Hate this storyline. Hate it.
Well, we're stuck with it for a while.
I know. Legion of Doom 2000. Obviously, as you can tell by the subtle tones of LL Cool. Taking on the Disciples of Apocalypse. So it's LOD versus DOA.
Yeah.
You go ahead and do the background. I can't even stomach it. Go ahead.
Hey, you want a little coffee or what? Huh?
Oh, God. I think I'll be good.
Some more? Huh? Try not to get it on the rust of my table here.
I won't do that.
Can you do that? Huh? You gonna get sick?
That's a possibility.
Huh? Oh. Huh? Oh my God! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke!
That's it.
I love when his voice goes, yeah! Always makes me laugh. Of course, talking about a newcomer to the World Wrestling Federation, JR. Let us know who that is. No, it's not him.
Darren Drozdoff, former NFL player, played with your New York Jets and the Denver Broncos. Of course, forever known as the guy who vomited on camera during a Monday Night Football game. Ventured into wrestling, was signed by WWF, but kind of toiled in ECW in 97, early 98, before making his debut on the May 25th Raw. On that episode, LOD introduced a new member for their group to help even the odds against the DOA, Puke. That name didn't last too long. He was eventually settled in as plain old Darren Drozdoff, and a nickname of Droz. So they'd say fairly strong throughout the summer. But it was supposed to be Hawk Animal Puke. I don't think the Droz name was really supposed to stick, but I think they realized how dumb Puke was.
Puke was dumb, as was adding him to this team and everything else thrown in as well.
So is he actually... I know we have it that way. Okay, so he doesn't actually wrestle here, though. He's just in the corner, right?
Yeah, no, it's it's just Hawk and Animal.
Okay,
it's
so Hawk and Animal against
8-Ball
and Skull.
Yeah, it's Hawk and Animal against, I think, 8 Ball and Chains.
No, Skull.
Skull. Okay. 8 Ball and Skull against Hawk and Animal.
Yeah, Chains on the outside and Draws.
Yeah,
on
they
the
don't
outside.
do. I don't think they do 6-mans for a little bit. But this whole thing just
6 men's.
this whole thing just aggravates me. This whole storyline. After all the bloviating I've done for the first 4 pay-per-views of 1998 that I wanted these guys to be champions and should have beat the New Age Outlaws and all this other stuff. I realize now, as I'm watching this storyline, that's all a bunch of poppycock. These guys, you like that? I did that on purpose.
I haven't heard poppycock in a while. That's a good one.
You like that?
Yes.
They still sell that in the stores, right? It goes with it. It's next to the.
I don't know what kind of stores you're shopping at, but.
Well, poppycock. It's like
Yes.
it's. I'll hear Vince say it.
Sounds like
poppycock.
Sounds like a nickname El Giante would have for like a Rotella or something.
It's like not Nutter Butter. It's like Fiddle Faddle. It's like the popcorn with the.
It's not like nut butter. It's just poppycock.
Fiddle Faddle and Poppycock. Sounds like a great tag team.
Bend down and grab my poppycock.
Or he walks up to, who was it again? Was it Briscoe? Here, look at the poppycock I just laid out. In any event.
Oh, boy.
The whole thing is just, I've realized that you're right. Okay?
I could have told you that a while ago.
This team should not have been involved, because now I see that they've just now been utterly humiliated. First off, this is one of the greatest tag teams of all time. The greatest, in my opinion. You don't add guys to their team. This isn't a faction. Stupid idea. And this is not a knock on Droz by any stretch.
He's gonna puke!
This storyline's making me puke. And it's not a knock on Droz. I don't want people call me and say, what are you bashing Droz? I'm not. It has something to do
People are gonna call you? Who are you, Bobby Heenan? They're gonna come up to you in the airport too.
with Yes. Miss
I heard
Betty's
you
thinking,
bashing
oh my
Droz on the podcast.
God. I don't want underthrown pick.
God, I want to root for this guy, so he's not making it easy for me to defend.
God.
The first one though wasn't his fault. The first one was not his fault. That one.
No, first of all, that throw was just underthrown. That was just an underthrown pass. It's not a knock on Droz. Miss Betty's taking my calls. It's not a knock on Droz. He's just collateral damage.
A lot of calls coming in.
Yeah. The fact that you have to add a guy to this storyline is just ridiculous. I don't care if it's 6-man teams or anything. Just get another guy.
So you don't think it was good to add a little fresh blood in?
No, not for this.
Okay.
They might as well just be.
You don't think it helped them? Just
well,
kind of like Crush coming in and helping out Axe and Smash?
Maybe in the beginning, but I feel like then the path they took. Maybe I'm being a little too. Maybe I'm kind of jumping the gun on what ends up happening in this story.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, heading in, I didn't think it was that. I mean, again, it's using this team to build a rub for someone, a young guy. I don't think it was the worst idea in the world.
I don't know. If you're going to make them a faction or something. Yeah, I'm glad you're laughing. I'm not. The match, though, admittedly, is just bad. I mean, you're dealing with 4 slow, plodding, power guys who don't have a lot of power moves. I mean, obviously, Hawk and Animal clearly past their prime.
Mm-hmm.
And, did the Harris brothers ever kind of have a prime? I don't know.
No.
But,
God, did the LOD get stale quick or what, though? I felt when they came back in early '97, they came back like a year too late. They needed to come back in '96 when the tag depth was horrific. I mean, '97 wasn't great, but '97 they were using the titles as props with Austin and Michaels and Bulldog and Owen. But if they came back in early '96 instead, they could have really been a solid team. Instead of the Baidanas and the Godwins and all that garbage going on, the Smoking Guns. So I think that was a misfire. I mean, they were with WCW and then in Japan, so I don't know how it cost them, but creatively wise, I think they would have been better to come in '96.
I think so too. I think they would have been good with the whole thing involving Sonny and with the Godwins and with the Body Donnas, and I agree with you. I think I would have been fantastic. And the Guns.
Yeah, that was a better time to come.
On '97, there was just a bunch of there was too much going on involving the tag straps to get them thrown in the middle of it.
Right, but they did feel fresh when they first showed up in early '97. Because it looked like Bulldog and Owen were breaking up, and you just had Furnace and the Fawn and the Blackjacks and a few other teams. So it seemed like maybe they could, get in the mix. But they just kind of aged quickly. They were hot until like the summer. They had that pretty good feud with the Godwins, and then after that, they kind of fell back a little bit. They had the quick tag run, and then by the time they lost to the Outlaws, they seemed like old news.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. But, again, you're putting them here. And the other sad thing is, the LOD, the DOA, which was getting completely, screwed over in the whole Gang Wars debacle.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kevin. Now suddenly they're getting a rub, much deserved one. So I'm fine with them because facing these guys does give them a little boost. But the quality of the wrestling is just not good. It's just this match.
Well, you got a team in the LOD that doesn't really sell for much, and you got a team in the DOA that doesn't have a wide variety of offense. So the DOA was fine when they were faces because they weren't bad selling and they could make a hot comeback with their power moves and everything. But now they have to control these matches. It makes things a little bit rougher. And Crush was a little bit better worker, and I think Brian Lee's probably maybe the best worker of the four, believe it or not. But so it's this to be mainly just the Harris brothers at this point. It was doomed from anything good in ring. At least it's under 10 minutes, but this probably would have been better like 6 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
LOD wins clean though, which is good.
Yes, gives them a bit of a rub. And this feud,
I'm lying.
continues.
DOA probably should have won since they're the younger team.
Yeah, I know. Nothing helps either of them here, so it doesn't really matter.
No, actually, I'm fine with it because you're introducing draws. Maybe you want to give LOD a bigger bump back up.
Well, let's put it this way: LOD should have won if he got the pin.
Well, he's not. But you still.
If he was in the match, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you still want to build the team up back up a little bit with draws being involved. I think it's fine. I think you start the show off with the face team winning.
Nothing crazy. All right, so LOD wins. Next up, before our next match, your World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Champion, The Rock, comes out and starts to talk down.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis.
Oh, really? He's there too? Does he travel for killing termites and cockroaches
yes.
north of Abilene?
Always.
Then Faarooq comes out and they have a little Donnybrook, which ends with Faarooq trying to pile drive The Rock into a
Tries
chair.
to hand The Rock a handful of poppycock.
Yes, and instead he poppycocks the pile driver and misses the chair altogether. Faarooq is just a mess here. It's been going on for what now? A year and a half? He's just like all over the place. He can't seem to do anything right.
Yeah, he's just I don't know. He's just kind of out of shape, and he was able to kind of hide in the nation.
Yeah, Kevin Kelly would not be liking us right now.
Well, whatever. Kevin can deal with it.
So he missed, but then Rock still plays up the stretcher.
Mm-hmm.
And
they
by
stretch
the way,
him
that
out and
night,
everything.
he introduces his first of what would be a myriad.
Yes, like
entrance
19 versions over the course of his career.
I don't know who's had more theme changes, him or the Undertaker.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of both. So there you go. So The Rock sells a hideous pile driver, and we move on. Our next match. I know this is probably would have been one of your cousin's guilty pleasures, this match. And that is, of course, former NWA North American Heavyweight Champion.
Red Carrot,
yes. Taking on Steve Van Burton Blackman. No.
Yes.
Steve Blackman and Jeff Jarrett hook up in a singles match. Which, of course, this has been brewing for what, almost a month and a half now.
Yeah, leading into Unforgiven, they kind of had a little bit of a feud. And then, of course, at Unforgiven, Jeff Jarrett sang and Blackman came out and they fought, and Tennessee Lee smacked him with a guitar. So that led into a match here.
Yes, and the match is okay. It's not great. I got to be honest, we're probably 0 for 2 in matches now. This is one of those feuds that kind of goes in one ear and out the other. I mean, it's okay. It's not.
I expected more. I thought maybe they'd.
Yeah.
Because Blackman wasn't bad in the ring, and then, Jarrett's pretty capable. So a little upset not upset, disappointed that it wasn't better.
Are you happy that they ditched the whole Aztec thing and went back to the old?
No, I wasn't really a fan of it because I thought I like Tennessee Lee. I thought that was a good addition, but I thought it was kind of stupid because like they had built up everything. They had Jarrett come out and rip on that gimmick and say how much he hated it, and then he goes back to it like 3 months later. It's just, and I kind of like the Aztec Warrior thing. I thought it had a good look. I thought that was the most unique and main event level he's looked. Despite how goofy that outfit was, I thought it was better looking than this.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is a sign where Vince probably said, "Whoa, this doesn't work anymore, does it?" I'm going to pull something from 3 years ago and see if it still works.
Well, maybe they just figured putting him back in that role, he was comfortable in it. He did it well. But to me, it just screams mid-card. Like, if they had...
Yeah.
I guess it's more of a disappointment because they brought him back in October, And it seemed like they were really going to build him up to be something major. They brought him in they played him up as a major free agent. They had him cut all the shoot promos. He was the first guy to jump from WCW, and by this point, he's already kind of just floating in the lower mid card. I mean, feuding with Steve Blackman's pretty low on the singles spectrum. So,
yeah, and the match itself is just not. It's just not good.
That's all right. I mean, you're making it like it's Uncle Elmer and Adrian Adonis. I mean,
I gave it 1.5, which is, it's not that great.
Yeah. Sorry.
It could be better, but it's not. It's not that bad.
We could all be better, Scott.
Yeah, that's true. Poppycock, I say. All right, so there you go. Jeff Jarrett gets the win with a kendo stick shot. Where that probably stole Blackman's, obviously. A little over 10 minutes. All right. Continuing on the run of
and one last thing, we'll see this being like a continuing trend with Jarrett, where they really just try and give him these wins on pay-per-view and on TV to try and salvage and rebuild his heat any way they can, but just kind of almost seeming lost already.
Yeah.
Since October.
Yeah, and considering that this mid card still kind of getting fleshed out a bit, don't you think?
Oh, for sure.
You're still looking at debuts. There's still some dead weight. There's a spot for Jarrett here to really shine. They're just not doing it. It's very weird.
Right. Yeah, we'll see a lot of young guys really start to get a chance now, leading up into this point, and that'll help refresh the mid-card.
Yeah. Okay, so we continue the run of god-awful mid-card matches at this show. Yes. Finally, it's almost finally that we give these two a match.
I love it. It's you say it's like god awful matches or whatever, but to me, this didn't need to be a match because I love this whole angle and storyline. Because Mark Merrow, to me, has really, you're talking about a guy like Jarrett who needs to step up or should be stepping up. Merrow, to me, has stepped up because ever since returning as a heel, he was kind of tepid early on, but once he got going with all the Butterbean stuff and really, the jealousy of Sable, to me, he's been fantastic. He's such a douche, and he's someone at a time where heels were trying to kind of be cool. He's just an old school dickbag heel. He's like 86 Randy Savage with more arrogance behind it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He's in delusion. One of those guys is very delusional about things, and it's just tremendous. He was a great package at this point, and he was one of my favorite people on TV week in and week out in '98.
So it's almost like 86 Savage with the 89 with delusions.
No, because 89 delusional Savage was like a mental patient. This is like Merrow. When I say delusional, is like one of those guys where he walks out with Sable and they're cheering for Sable and he thinks it's for him. Like that kind of delusional. Or he loses a match and says he wins. Like I like those heels that just ignore reality and just talk about shit that didn't actually happen. To me, that's the better part.
Yes. Obviously, she had enough of his garbage, and he caved and told Sable that if she could find someone to represent her in a match, he would put her freedom up. But if Sable's wrestler lost, she would have to leave the Federation for good. Sable claimed that she would find someone she could trust to win her freedom back. Of course, as she comes out of this match, she comes out in wrestling gear, claiming that she would do this all by herself. And the minute you saw that... Yeah, I laughed too, Art. The minute you saw that, you realized, not great.
Well, in what way?
Well, I mean, if you're looking for a legitimate match, if you're looking for something just to advance the storyline, then fine, you got the right thing. But for people that maybe...
When did you become Dave Meltzer that you need 5 snowflake matches for everything? I want the Scott back who enjoyed these storylines and unique characters. Why do we all of a sudden you're a work rate Marvel?
Where are all the Japanese wrestlers?
God, well, they're coming up next. But where I don't get where this all went off the track with you. That all of a sudden, because we have this 21-second storyline laden match, you were disappointed because Sable came out and said, I mean, who would you rather have seen come out in this match? I would have put on the caliber of outing that would make you excited.
Well, obviously he's still in WCW. He won't come back for no. I'm only kidding. No, I mean, you're right. I mean, I'm just kind of on this role of one bad match after another.
But it's fine. I mean, you know what? We're getting to the for better or for worse, we're getting to the point in wrestling history and WWF history that the matches just weren't important. People just wanted to see the guys they wanted to see. It was very brawl heavy. It's gonna be 2 years, but you might as well let it go now. It's gonna be like 2 years before we get to the.
I understand. It's one thing though when you just have two guys that you're making a storyline with and they're not great. Maybe I was expecting just more. I don't know why, but
I just don't know who you think. I mean, to me, this was a perfect evolution of this feud. That Sable would turn to herself to try and use her wiles to kind of outwit Mero. I thought it played up perfectly. Sable, had beaten Luna in the bikini match, or the hell that was or actually she had lost, but and then her thing with Mero had been building and building, and Mero said, "All right, I'll put your freedom on the line." And he's expecting some guy, and she comes out, and it was good mind games. I thought
it was, and in the end, it obviously didn't work.
Well, because this is fantastic. Because Mero. It's kind of sad. He says, he's embarrassed, and if she really hates him so much that she'd want to wrestle him, he'll just lay down for her. I mean, God, to get to this point, he didn't realize how far he had pushed her. So he, he says, all right, I'll lay down, I'll let you in, and you can be free. I'm not going to make you stay with me anymore if you hate me this much. And Mero lays down. Sable sits on top of him to pin him, and Mero rolls her over and pins her. And then celebrates like you won the world title at WrestleMania. This was hilarious to me. This was one of my favorite heel moments from like a mid-card feud. I thought it was tremendous the way he celebrated after winning this match.
You know what it reminds me of? It actually, now that I think about it, it does kind of remind me of Owen at the '94 Survivor Series.
Yeah, it's just tremendous.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's excellent heel work here. Kind of saves for those that were disappointed that you didn't get a real match, but this is pretty awesome.
The celebration was fantastic. He's such a dick that he would.
Yeah, he really is.
This is he could beat her anyway, obviously, and he still goes to this length to fuck with her, lay down, and then roll her up and pin her, and then celebrate it and rub it in her face. Now, things will take a stupid turn by the next pay-per-view, which we'll get to, because they kind of backtrack on everything. But at this point, this looked great. You didn't actually think Sable was leaving, but Mero dicking her over like this was just fantastic. This is one of my favorite moments in the first half of '98 pay-per-view wise.
Yes. By the way, we are after one quarter.
Stick that in your sack and smoke it.
Yeah, 5 snowflakes, Meltzer.
Stick that in your poppycock tin.
Poppycock tin. 1 quarter complete at FedEx Field. We are scoreless. So Mark Mero gets
poppycock tin.
Gets the win he wins the world title. Or acts like he does. But as JR mentions, by the next pay-per-view, the whole Sable leaving is just a ruse. All right. Next. Here we go. Right up Meltzer's alley. And our good friend, Scott Keith, who's a big fan of Japanese wrestlers. There's a bevy of them in this match. The 6-man tag of Sho Funaki.
Oh, it's live, Hal.
Dick Togo. And Men's Teo. Otherwise known as Kai and Tai. Taking on, in a handicap match, your World Wrestling Federation light heavyweight champion, Taka Michinoku. I almost said Mickey Noku.
Yeah, well, the whole thing was pretty racist, but we'll let it
go. Max Moon. And no,
what?
I don't know. And Bradshaw.
Oh, God, I'm going to chalk it up to this delirium over this, basically a playoff game right now.
Yes, and it's a very poorly played game on both sides so far. In a handicap match. All right. Give us a little background, JR, on these 3 newcomers.
Well, we talked about them last time on the Raw, but Kai and Tai debuted on Raw, as we said a few weeks before the show. They jumped Taka during the match. Taka was actually a member of the group in Japan. Kai and Tai is managed by Yamaguchi-san, who's actually a wrestling photographer, agent, and pal of Eric Bischoff over in WCW. Wally Yamaguchi declared war on their former partner, Taka. Taka began looking to Bradshaw for help, because he and Taka had actually been buddying around, and Bradshaw's trying to get him to see the ways of Americana. Cars, beer, and women. They've been teaching him all kinds of phrases, and they had Jim Ross trying to teach him English, telling him how to say slobber knocker and all this other stuff. So they had been buddies, Bradshaw and Taka, and they go 3-on-2 here against Kai and Tai. Again, as you said, Sho Funaki, Dick Togo, Men's Teo, all from Japan, where they were known as Kai and Tai Deluxe. And they come here to the WWF. I thought this was a good import. I thought Taka needed some guys he could work with. We talked about his feud with Brian Christopher. He didn't really set the world on fire. He had those couple of one-off matches of Pantera and Aguila. But he needed kind of a feud to go off of, and he knew these guys well. We knew we'd get some good matches, and I thought it was a smart move to bring them in.
Yeah. However, something was not right with this match. It didn't have a good... I'm happy for the guys, though. I am right. You are right about that, because I felt like, and we talked about this, I think, at Unforgiven, I felt like the light heavyweight contenders started to run dry very quickly. After he had those 3 awesome matches in a row at the Rumble, No Way Out, and WrestleMania, not even at Unforgiven. And now here he is here as part of this handicap match. So I was happy that these these three new guys came in, guys that he's probably known, obviously, and worked with. However, I was expecting a little more out of this match. Just seemed very choppy.
Choppy.
Choppy. These new guys are acting like they don't really know what's going on. They're kind of staring at each other, running around in circle. It was just very weird.
Will you stop?
I wish I could, Mr. President. But just very, very weird. And the crowd, at one point, actually but the crowd kind of peters out a little bit. And they kind of need to be, jacked up again.
Well, the problem is Taka, while great in the ring, we don't really be given a reason to care about him as a person or as a character. And, Bradshaw, him too, really. I mean, he was with the Blackjacks. He had the split with Wyndham, kind of feud with Jarrett. But we haven't really been given a reason. He's a big Texan guy that's been a heel most of the time. And even when he's a face, he was in a tepid tag team. So, the crowd doesn't really have much to get behind. And unless you're having a lot of kind of high-flying, capture your imagination kind of moves, which they didn't really bust out here, I could see why it was hard for the fans to get into this one.
Yeah, and obviously this feud continues. Some other guys get added into the mix.
What did you think of Bradshaw at this point? Do you think they were kind of wasting him, or do you think this is a good spot for him?
Well, I kind of enjoyed it. He was the kind of, in my opinion, the shining star of what was that kind of debacle of a NWA storyline. Obviously, Barry Windham was not going to be pushed to the moon. Barry Windham was kind of past his prime at this point.
Kind of.
But
well,
yeah, not Bradshaw. So I thought Bradshaw could actually gotten. He might have been the
kind of got kind
of been the shining star out of that storyline. So yes, I'm actually a little upset that he. I'm a little upset that he, has kind of been muddled a little bit. Same thing with Jarrett. You get to get some legitimately decent mid-card guys here, and you don't know what to do with them. You're kind of lost in it.
I think it's a pretty big divide right now in the mid-card. I think you have the upper mid-card, which is really just Rock, with his stuff going on. Shamrock is up there, and then the Nation and DX are kind of up there. And then to me, Kane and Undertaker are like in this level just with main event level, but not quite. But then I wouldn't consider them like even upper mid-card. They're kind of in their own world. Right. And then you have Austin and all their stuff. So to me, there's like a very big divide. There's a big drop-off after the upper mid-card with Rock, the Nation, and DX. And then to me, it's just all these other guys kind of just aimlessly trying to find their way. And that's where these guys, Jarrett, Blackman, Kaientai, Taka, Mero, all these guys are, to me, LOD, DOA. They're all just kind of hanging on, trying to step up, but not really involved in anything too hot at the time.
Yeah, and the match, the fact that heels won is fine. It does advance the storyline. I'm just hoping we get more out of these guys, because this gets me excited that we got some a little fresh blood in the mid card of what seems like some pretty good workers. But this match just wasn't booked for that. This was kind of booked more as a very storyline laden, gimmicky kind of thing.
Right.
And you're a little disappointed. You're expecting more out of it, but that's okay.
Well, plus Bradshaw doesn't really fit with the style. I mean, you have all these small guys in him.
But
I'll give him credit though. He tried. He tried to work with them, and in a match like this, you want to see him just tossing these dudes around. Yeah. But I don't think we got enough of anything we expected. We didn't get enough of the flying between Kaientai and Taka, and we didn't get enough of the cool big man tossing the shit out of the lightweights either.
Yeah. Those four guys probably add up to Bradshaw's weight.
I don't know about that. They add up to like Vader or something.
But okay. So there you go. Kaientai gets the win. I don't know either, Billy. What's his name? My tights don't fit. Poppycock. New word to go with non sequitur. So there you go. Kaientai gets the win to kind of get the feud kick-started, and I'm excited about the fact that we have some new guys.
Yeah.
I'm just.
We're in way better shape than we were towards the end of '97 when things just looked dire. And you look back at that Survivor Series and the way they filled out the undercard, and it's just the gang wars were taking up a ton of pay-per-view time. I mean, these guys that they have now are way better. They just don't have any heat on the characters because we haven't really given a reason. Besides Mero, we haven't really been given much of a reason to care or hate or like any of these people.
Exactly. Next up,
what really separates Taka from Kaientai in the fans' minds? What has Taka done that's so good versus what Kaientai's done that's so evil? Besides just jumping Taka, I mean, there's no reason to care.
Exactly, and it's not a knock on Taka in him as an individual because he has been pumped, has built up as the light heavyweight champion. So that aspect of him is fine. It's just what about this feud itself that you want to jump on his bandwagon about? That's a problem. There hasn't been anything specifically set for him in this storyline. It has nothing to do with him. And you're mad at me for saying Takamichinoku.
Yes.
You play that, and then you play that. Okay. Next, not that we've been playing that for since episode 85 or whenever that debuted. All right. Next up, we have our first title match of the evening, and it comes from a segment that we had earlier on in the pay-per-view, as the World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Championship is on the line. Your champ, as Vince used to say, The Rock, who of course got pile-driven on a chair that wasn't really there, taking on the guy who tried to pile-drive him on the chair and didn't. That is Faarooq. Is this match just way too late?
Yes.
Has this been done like 3 pay-per-views ago?
Well, not 3 ago, because they just turned right around Mania. I mean, it should have been an Unforgiven. We got that 6-man instead, but to me, Rock was beyond this at this point. We needed to get him away from Faarooq. Yeah, the stuff kind of burgeoning with DX. Shamrock was still lingering, and then you're still going to drag the stupid match out with a useless guy like Faarooq at this point. And look, I like Ron Simmons, all right? You know, I don't know if I like him as much as Kevin Kelly, but I like him. And the fact that he was, at this point, physically, was sad. And he'll rectify that as the year goes on. But at this point, should have been nowhere near the IC title picture with a stud like The Rock. Now, you can argue it was a pretty good win for The Rock, solidifies it, but even the way he wins isn't that great. He just kind of rolls him up, and he doesn't really... This is a match, if you had to have this feud go, Rock needed to pin him, like, emphatically. Right. Not with, like, a kind of a half-ass roll-up. Or a half-ass one, either.
Half-ass, poppycock roll-up. Yeah, I agree. It's only 5 minutes, thank God. I mean, at least the length is merciful for us. Actually, what happens after this match that is much more important than the match itself. So Rock wins with a kind of as JR mentioned, a half-assed yodel roll-up.
You've got to be kidding me!
I'm not. At about 5:02, but then after that, as JR mentioned, and we've talked about, we mentioned it briefly at the Unforgiven Vault and on that Raw, that DX is slowly starting a feud with the Nation, and they come out after the match, and we just have a big crazy brawl,
right?
And that kind of sets things up for the future. But a nice brawl to end the segment after a very ugly match.
Go ahead.
And Rock.
Oh, I thought you were gonna.
Oh, after the extra point. Rock. I want to get my thought out first.
All right, go ahead.
Rock.
Good for you.
Rock's actually getting some. I don't say face pops, but the crowd's kind of getting into him, don't you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. Of course they are. That's why I think he's wasted in this feud with Faarooq.
Well, I think they just wanted to. I think this was just kind of
his heatless fat ass and his stupid tights.
Yeah, I think this is. Just
please no! I can't believe I'm in the IC title picture. No.
Yeah, I think this is more of a just kind of get this feud out of the way, and get it done. And I think that's what they did here. You're right, though. They should have just gotten this out of the way. The problem is they had Rock's hands in so many things.
Yeah, no, they did, which was good. It's just they picked the worst of the 3 for this pay-per-view match.
Yeah, it's true. So now I can say it. Tony Romo, looks like about a 7-yard touchdown pass on 3rd and goal to Jason Witten. Extra point is good, and the Cowboys have a 7. I promised I'd do it. Sorry.
Well, I don't see any posts about Romo throwing touchdowns. I saw ones after the picks, but nothing. Everyone's quiet now. All quiet on the Western Front.
Go quiet on the Western Front. But yes, it was a touchdown. Not a pretty throw.
Do you remember when that book was released? Were you excited?
Well, yeah, it was right after World War I when I was almost drafted. But
right.
Yes. I don't even know if there was a draft for World War I. Okay.
Well, if there was, you were involved.
Yes, I went from Raw to SmackDown. No. So The Rock retains the Intercontinental title, but as one feud ends, thankfully, another one, thankfully, begins. So, all right. This is kind of the funny match of the show in terms of unintentional comedy. Well, in terms of unintentional.
I don't think it was meant to be funny.
No, that's what I'm saying. Unintentional comedy.
Okay, I'll give you that.
In a mask versus mask match, a couple of hosses
Derek
here.
LaRue.
Yes. Kane.
It's gotta be Kane!
After losing back-to-back pay-per-view matches to his brother, The Undertaker, taking on the guy that he beat 3 months ago at No Way Out of Texas, and that is the Mastodon Vader. This match, a lot better than what we've seen so far, thankfully.
Good.
Obviously, two big
your
hosses.
Work rate boner back up.
Yes. Well, work rate Haas, or not work rate Haas. Two big hosses in the ring, power match. And fun little match. But unfortunately, this is the point where you finally see that Vader is just not fitting in the new style of WWF, which is kind of sad because he probably could have if he was fresher. But this has been a very tumultuous 2 years or 2.5 years that Vader has been in the World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah, a lot of up and down. Yeah, you would expected more from Vader when he first signed. There was a lot of excitement in '96, but again, just the wrong time. He came in during a time where they wanted to run with Shawn Michaels as champion, and then I guess we'll finally get the answer, right, Scott? We've been talking about this forever. J.J. Dillon, did him leaving really change the outcome of that match at Survivor? Leading into Survivor Series.
It must have.
Well, we're gonna find out.
We will
January
find out.
10th.
Yes, we will find out about it in a week and a half. Absolutely. It's kind of a bummer. We don't know what would have happened. We don't even know if it would have been a good. We don't even know if it would have been a good storyline, or would have been a good reign, or we don't know what would have happened.
Right.
Would have been a very different and interesting 1997. Would we have had Taker and Vader at WrestleMania 13? Would Sid have even been in the picture at all?
Yeah, there'll be a lot
Very
to talk about. We'll see when we have JJ on.
Yes, but we are safe to say that here, he's definitely at the end of the line. Very upsetting.
Well, he sticks around a little bit longer, but yeah, this pretty much caps him off. And you thought, I really thought that after No Way Out, when Kane beat him and hit him with the wrench, and Vader came back at Unforgiven, he was kind of hot. So I thought maybe that was kind of the refreshing of Vader. They'd get him back in the mix, and then they really just brought him back here to put over Kane again, and Kane gets a clean win of the Tombstone. Again, just kind of killing time for Kane before he gets back again with Taker. So, disappointing. I thought maybe Vader had one last shot in him, but this really was pretty much it, I think.
It is pretty much it. But again, the right guy went over, obviously. Because
he had to win here. I mean, I thought maybe Vader could have done something else, but yeah, Kane needed to win clean here, obviously.
Yeah, and he continues on. But the funny part of this match is pretty much when a lot of people think that Vader pretty much throws in the towel here.
Well, let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Revenge tonight, but it didn't happen. What happened out there?
A man usually don't have any excuses. I came here tonight competing. I got my butt whipped. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I trained. Look at me. I'm so big. Maybe better time's over. I'm nothing but a big piece of shit. A big fat piece of shit.
That's like so you expect to hear him like after drinking a long night at the bar and being all upset about his weight or something. But I mean,
no.
Do you think that he ad-libbed that, or do you think that was part of the direction they were taking his character?
I don't know.
I don't know neither.
I don't think that he meant to say it, but I also think that Vince probably told him, you know what, say what's on your mind. Remember, this is a new philosophy now.
Right, true.
So they swear. Who gives a shit? I mean, seriously, I don't think Vince cares. Remember, it's pay-per-view. You can say what you want. So I think he probably told Vader, you know what, say what you want. Whatever
Express
it is,
your
just
anger.
say what you want and see where we go with it. We'll see what we go with it. Obviously, not much did, but I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. I kind of dug the whole,
No, I thought it was good. I mean, it pretty much buries himself. But do you think it was leading anywhere? Do you think they were going to do the revitalization thing and have him start to doubt himself and pick up some wins? Or do you think, I don't know, do you think it was a rib? I don't know what to think.
I was hoping that it was a revitalization. I love Vader. I was hoping it was a revitalization. Obviously, it wasn't, but it would have been cool. I like those kind of storylines where you kind of need like a reclamation project kind of thing. We'd see it with a few guys down the line in the WWF throughout the years. I like that kind of storyline where you got to kind of build somebody from scratch and, kind of start retcon them a little bit. I have no problem with that. I like that kind of storyline. And it didn't materialize. But a guy like Vader, I like that. I was hoping it would lead to something, but it obviously didn't. And Kane gets the big win after back-to-back pay-per-view losses to The Undertaker. Kane gets back on track with a win here against Vader. What about you? What did you think? Would you have enjoyed it? Would you have enjoyed a storyline like that, kind of a reclamation kind of thing, where he kind of gets back on track, maybe leads to some big, maybe gets an IC feud with?
Yeah, he's a guy who could have been feuding with Rock at this point. I think that would have been a good feud over Faarooq.
I think so too. Yeah,
I think that's exactly what they could have done. They could have maybe put him in the King of the Ring, maybe picks up a win, and then comes up short in the second round, and maybe it fully loaded or something. Well, Rock had other things going on, bigger plans, so maybe not. But I think they could have still gotten some mileage out of Vader, but just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. So there you go. One more thing before we go to break. The WWF in Milwaukee honors a couple of AWA legends, Mad Dog Vachon, also a WWF mainstay throughout his career. And the Crusher. Crusher got a big pop. Obviously, he's a Milwaukee native. He's probably frequented every bar and grill from Kenosha to Wauwatosa.
And I know Steve Willie was in the house for the show. You think maybe he hit the ring too with his prosthetic leg?
It's been pretty awesome.
Okay.
The last time we saw Vachon on a pay-per-view, speaking of, was, of course, In Your House, Good Friends, Better Enemies in April of 1996 when Diesel pulled off his fake leg. Jerry Lawler comes out to break their balls that they're old and, the usual old jokes and everything, and they both kick the crap out of him. Not a terrible segment. Might have been a little long, but it wasn't too bad. Why Vince constantly needs to embarrass Vachon by taking his leg off just totally befuddles me.
Well, I like stupid shit like that. I mean, Lawler does try and keep ripping it off when he's busting the balls. And
he's got one leg.
What a loser. That's not like the rest of us two-legged men.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so screwed up. All right. We're going to take a break because the next two matches have a lot of meat into them.
A lot of meat.
So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, our last couple of matches. However, we are going to get a word from our many, many sponsors. Because...
You, stupid.
Oh, that is really mature.
Yeah, so are you.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
How many pro wrestling news websites do you visit to get your daily news? 3, 4, maybe 5? Do yourself a favor and make that number 1. WrestleChat.net, the only professional wrestling news site that brings you all wrestling news all day long, and is home of the critically acclaimed Still Real to Us podcast, starring former CZW, ROH, and ECW announcer Eric Gargiulo and the champ Jeff Beck. That's WrestleChat.net. WrestleChat, it's where it's at.
So there's WrestleChat.net, indeed, where it's at. Great message board, plenty of news topics to browse, WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, the Still Real to Us podcast, much, much more. It's the official place for the PTB headlines, and if you click the PTB gnome on the right of the screen, you will head directly to our Podbean page and our full catalog of shows. So check it out, WrestleChat.net, indeed, where it's at. Also, head to our message board, bigelow34.proboards.com. It's really where PTB began. Our written reviews, the territory wars, and so much more. So head to our message board, bigelow34.proboards.com. If you want a one-touch spot for our show, head to Stitcher.com and the Stitcher app for all phones and tablets, iPhones, Droids, whatever you got. Go to Stitcher.com for more details. We also can't forget our good friend Graham Cawthon and the history of WWE.com. It's the best research site you will ever find. Past ring results, pay-per-view reviews, and so much more. Graham's a good friend of the show. Always help you with what you need. So that's the history of WWE.com. We can't forget our good friend Jay Wilmette. Continues to battle lymphedema. The guy's a warrior, folks. For a guy who's had so many medical problems, he's always in great spirits when he's on the show. He's one of our dearest friends. There's a great way you can help him out. Medical bills are not cheap, particularly with a very unique condition like his. So head to our board, bigelow34.proboards.com for more information. We'd also like to welcome our newest sponsor to the program, and that is the Wrestling Forum at twfnews.com. Listen, they're a wrestling forum, they're a blog site, but really they're much more than that. The guys at TWF are looking to create a wrestling media nation by affiliating with as many top-quality blogs, podcasts, and vodcasts as they possibly can. And that includes yours. They're the official forum of WrestleChat.net, and we here at The Place to Be have already joined up to have our podcast featured on there as well. So go check them out and find out what they're doing, what they're about at twfnews.com.
What's up, everybody? This is Kevin Kelly, longtime announcer with the WWE, now the voice of Ring of Honor Wrestling. No better place to be than right here on the Place to Be podcast. Make sure you tune in every week.
And Nation, we are back. A couple extra plugs here. Also, I started a wrestling blog, Scott. I don't know if you're aware of this. Over on the Bigelow34.proboards.com message board. I was trying to mix stuff up. I got all these DVDs from JO I'm trying to watch. So I throw stuff in and I just type up about it. So it's not really any kind of formal review. I just kind of stream of consciousness thoughts as I'm watching. I'll just type what I'm thinking. I'll do some play-by-play, some reaction, some jokes that I attempt to be funny at. So a lot of good stuff, though, so far. I did 2 episodes of ECW. I did a couple TNA pay-per-views, episode of NWA. I did Ring of Honor from this past week. It was the best of show. And go over there and check out my thoughts on the awesome Davey Richards-Michael Elgin match, which I want to get into Wednesday when we talk to Graham Cawthon on our year in review show. So,
I actually I have not seen that first match. I actually saw the rematch that was on Ring of Honor TV. I think it was 3 weeks ago. That match was great. So I can only imagine what that first match back in March. Unbreakable Michael Elgin and Davey Richards. I heard that match is tremendous.
It's phenomenal.
Even before you saw it, I heard it was a tremendous.
Well, it actually made me waver now. I was pretty locked in on what I thought my match of the year would be on Wednesday when we record, and I'm wavering now. That's how good that match was.
That's unbelievable. I've heard so much about it. I have to watch it. Also, I just want to let everyone know about my good friend Mike and his app, The Point, which is it's an internet radio station. Something nice to have on in the background. They play really great music. They have some good old school music shows, 80s, 90s music. But he also, if you connect to the app through iTunes, you can also get our podcast as well. So it's called The Point. It's the site is getthepointradio.com, but you can also get the app as well, and you can get our archive of shows. Alfred Morris just scored on a 17-yard run as the Cowboy defense looks terrible against the run tonight, and the Redskins have tied the game at 7 with 3:20 to go in the half. This game is flying by. Mm-hmm. This game's barely an hour old, and we only got 3:20 to go in the half. So both teams moving the ball very quickly when they're on offense, but the Redskins have tied the game on an Alfred Morris touchdown.
And Perestroika and Glasnost, I dig them the utmost. And how is your sister tonight?
I just listened, JR. The reason I'm glad you're playing that, I just listened, kind of going back in time at work in the background, going back in time to our Vintage Vault pay-per-views, and I was listening to the WrestleMania 6 Vault the other day. One of our best, one of our better shows. I enjoyed that one. And I obviously commented about that awesome show. I like your blog, by the way. Doing a very nice job with it.
Thank you.
I've read the first couple. I actually watched a great show, house show last night. As I was trying to nod off, I had to get up early today. One of our 24/7 tapes. I think it was April 23rd, 1989. So it was about 3 weeks after WrestleMania 5 at Maple Leaf Gardens. It was Gorilla and Lord Alfred. And I always thought they had good chemistry as an announced team. They were fun to listen to.
Gorilla with anyone, but for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. Good show. Three awesome long matches. And there was one really not great Hogan-Savage match.
As long as this segue you got going on?
Exactly. But I just want to talk about just a random show that I watched that if anybody can catch it, it's nice. There was a long, I was going to say Jesse. There was a long DiBiase Jake match. Really good Brett. This is when they were doing that test.
So when's this from? You said mid-'89?
Mid-'89. Okay. April 23rd, 1989. Okay. And it was, there's a really good Brett perfect match. Remember they were kind of doing that stretch of matches with the two of them?
Yep.
There's that match at the Garden that's on a few DVDs. I think it's maybe like a week or two after this or before this. But that match is very good too. I don't know, it's just a good house show. I just wanted to mention it. It was really good. I believe it's April 23rd. It's late April. It's definitely after 5 because Hogan's got the belt. So
was it April 29th, 1992? Like Sublime sings about?
No. It was. All right, let's get back to the business at hand.
Guess.
Which is, of course, which is Over the Edge, 1998, from Milwaukee. Our last two matches, very long and have a lot of juice in them, so let's dive right in. Big six-man tag match here. As we mentioned earlier on, during the Intercontinental title match between...
Intercontinental.
Between Faarooq and...
Faarooq Assad.
Faarooq Assad and Rocky Maivia.
Your Via?
Go Via.
My Via?
The rest of the nation.
Who's Via?
Vizio. Poppycock. We're talking about Bin Mustafa. We still call him Bin at this point.
I am. So that's all that matters.
D'Lo Brown and a new guy to the team. We'll get to him in a minute.
Okay.
Taking on the rest of, or currently the...
All right.
Ow.
It's amazing how you knock me off my feet. Every time you come around me, I get weak.
Ow.
I love the wow, wow, wow. It's the best part of the song. Of course, talking about Triple H and D-Generation X, including your World Wrestling Federation World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions, the Road Dogg, the Badass.
I like to know so I can be yours and more. I like to know what makes you cry. So always make you smile.
I gotta redo this song just for you. I know bad work rate makes you cry.
Oh God, come on! This song actually kind of goes along with not just Triple H but the New Age Outlaws as well, because you will see I.
Oh, we know. All right.
Spelled the thing. So just saying.
Get your black and green thong on. You ready to go?
Exactly. Woohoo! But we have a new addition. New addition. We're getting that end of 2012 blue kind of
That's the opposite of the blues.
Kind of kookiness here.
You're kooky.
Talk about the newest member, JR, of the Nation of Domination.
The newest member is right here. Oh God, still doing this. All right, Owen Hart has joined the Nation. Can you believe it?
What?
Oh yeah, the whole singles thing didn't quite work out after he got buried by your boys. Can you believe that? You shocked Scott by this? He refused to put him over left and right.
He's better in this role. See, it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, it all worked out in the end, sure. So obviously he was kind of aimless, and basically by Unforgiven, DX is being turned face on their own by the fans, and Nation was still heels, and Owen was just kind of floundering. So they have him join, and obviously with Rock in charge over Faarooq, they're past the whole Farrakhan kind of Malcolm X stuff where they're not really about, black power or anything. Now it's more just about being a team and a gang. So Owen said he was tired of being alone. He was tired of being picked on. He wanted backup. He wanted to be part of a family again. His family had all deserted him. Had all gone to WCW to either job or be wasted. So he said he was going to be part of a group again. So he joins up with the Nation. Kind of a weird fit in a way, but he was always best, I guess, as part of a group, as part of a team, which you said. So also part of this, DX had now turned face. The crowd, it was going that way anyway. We talked about this Unforgiven. There's no way to keep this team heel. And it was during this stretch that they had the infamous skits where they invaded WCW. They went down to Norfolk Scope during Nitro and were basically telling people to watch Raw and riding around in a tank and all this other stuff. And they invaded CNN Towers and were looking for Eric Bischoff and Ted Turner. And just great stuff we had never experienced from WWF before. No. I thought it was fantastic. And just really, really another sign of the way WWF was going with their attitude.
It was when they pretty much started admitting that WCW gave away their Nitro. At this point, though, the rumors were that WCW was giving away their Nitro tickets.
Which I'm sure was partially true.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it was. Oh, no, it's definitely not a lie. It's definitely the truth. But the fact that DX had to, flaunt it on Raw made it even better. But,
yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, you definitely were now starting to see a thinking outside the box, finally, that you had not seen in WWF creative for quite a long time. Now they were just kind of going... They were taking what WCW was doing and even taking it further. I mean, we're talking about, remember when Kevin Nash threw, Ray into the thing like a lawn dart and all that kind of stuff? They took that and expanded even further. Now they're going out into the streets and they're doing things in front of crowds outside of the arena. They kind of went out of the box, coming up with really great stuff. The Norfolk Scope thing, one of the most infamous and memorable moments in the history of Raw. And DX was suddenly becoming like the flag bearers for the company in kind of in a funny way. Obviously, you had Austin, but in a happy way.
Yes.
DX was becoming the flagship of the Attitude Era.
It was around this time that the tape came out too, with all the Shawn stuff and this stuff all included. One of the best tapes they've ever released was that original DX one.
Yes. And I actually have that. I have it on tape, and I actually got it on DVD too. It came with a free T-shirt. That was back in 2016.
I've got 2 tickets to paradise.
Are you playing that right off the commercial that just aired like 2 minutes ago?
Very current, very topical.
God, he looks terrible. So there you go. So Owen joins the Nation. DX is red hot, big faces. Would you consider them like main event B, or are they just right at the top of the mid card?
Pack your bags, we'll leave tonight.
I would say they're on the cusp. I'd say. I mean, pop wise, they're clearly main event level. I mean, they're probably second. Well, we'll say third in command after Austin and the Undertaker. So they're up there. Booking wise, I don't think they're there yet. They're clearly still being booked as mid card acts. Not really involved in a title picture. They're just kind of they're almost being booked as a comedy act in a way. I mean, they're strong on TV and they're doing a lot of stuff, but almost more comedy than any kind of serious push.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And it felt like a step back though, because with Shawn they were main event level, and now they're almost just there to generate laughs.
Well, I think what they were doing is, I think it's kind of a process. Obviously, you don't have Shawn, you don't have the main event star power. Triple H isn't there yet, and neither the Outlaws. So the guys in that group are not. There's not enough juice there to replace what Shawn had. So you got to take a step back. There's no choice. You can't. Nobody can really get upset about it because you can't do anything about it.
Right.
None of them are Shawn.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I didn't get upset about it. I thought it was great television.
I think it had to go that way too, because the heel thing was so. The heel thing was just not working, and I think they tried to make them serious heels, kind of almost like NWO, where they were still doing pranks and bullshit. But once they turned face, they really amped up kind of the comedy. But yeah, like you said, it was fine, and it would be short-lived enough that it's not really any kind of issue.
Exactly, and obviously that upper mid card is slowly starting to. They start gaining some cred as a not non-comedy act, but still funny, but still taken seriously in other ways, and we'll see that as the months progress. But I the fact that he couldn't hold that note, he do the whoa, whoa, oh, whoa, whoa.
So drugs will do to you, Scott.
Yeah, pretty bad. Drugs and just among other things. If there's anything other than drugs, it's worse, I guess. I don't know if anybody...
and other things. Oh, okay.
I don't know if anybody had. I don't know if anybody had a drug problem. I think he probably drank a lot. He was a Long Island guy.
I'm sure he never did drugs.
No, I think he hung out.
He only was a rock star in the 80s. I'm sure he did no drugs.
Yeah,
true, he was very clean.
He goes back to the 70s, so it's actually more just weed.
Yes, and Triple H is all clean as well. They're all in your pure mind. They're all clean.
They are all clean. There's no steroids. It's just good working out and saying your prayers and eating your vitamins. Steroids are poppycock. All right, this is a great match. I enjoyed it a lot. A lot of energy. Owen obviously adds he adds a lot of work rate to the Nation. But seriously though, he does kind of add that hint of real good in-ring work that the rest of those guys, D'Lo and Kama, didn't quite have. So they did add to that. It did make the match better in that aspect, admittedly. Triple H, how do you feel he's progressed at this point as a singles guy now that we're on almost 2 years he's been with the company? Or 3 years, actually. You think he's progressed as we head into the Attitude Era?
Yes and no. He was second in command to Shawn all that time, and now it feels like, okay, he's finally going to get his chance to shine. But in a way, Scott, I don't know. Do you feel like, I mean, he stepped up and said he was the leader of the Nation, but does a little part of you felt like X-Pac kind of was acting more like it at this point?
I think now was a good chance to show the funnier... Well, no, he's been doing the funny side of him.
Yeah. I feel like they wanted to legitimize Triple H, but they just weren't there yet. And it was almost like he wasn't taking the reins like he should have been, like he said he was going to.
Well, the other thing is he didn't... In my opinion, at this point, I don't think he needed to have to take the reins.
Well, I think he did.
Well,
think
what
he
reigns
did.
he need to take? I mean, Austin's
You
already
need
at
to
the top
become
of the
a
card.
top guy. Well, still, you got to get it done. I mean, there's only so long you can be the comedy lackey sidekick, and he needed to really start going.
I agree with that, but I think because the roster was still kind of in a state of flux, I think it was okay at the moment. As the year progresses and we start moving towards the end of 98 and into 99, yes, then at that point the comedy stuff needs to end, and I think we do see that eventually. But right now, I don't know what else you need. I mean, Austin is there, Rock is there. You've got, the Taker Kane thing. The top part of the card is pretty clogged right now. I think it's fine to keep him in this role at the moment. If it stayed this way exactly a year from now, then we're starting to lag a big time in his progression. But I'm okay with it right now. It kind of moves off to another direction for him towards the summer as he starts getting into a title picture. But right now, I think he's fine in this role as a comedy guy. Do you think Shawn stunted him then? Do you think putting him with Shawn kind of stunted his growth?
It definitely helped him. I don't think it stunted him at all, because I don't think he would even be where he is without Shawn. So I think the Shawn thing made him. So no, I wouldn't say it stunted him.
So I think it's fine. The way that
I guess this is more the way he cut that promo the night after Mania. You really felt like he was going to almost be on Shawn's level. And I know that's, tough to make happen, but to me, that's just kind of the feeling you got. And I feel like he hadn't really ascended yet at this point. He was just still kind of cool doing the dick jokes and the, spray paint and shit instead of actually becoming any kind of legitimate player.
I think the problem here was, or not the problem, I think the dilemma is you really needed to continue to push. Right now, the important storyline is Steve and Vince. That's the one that's the one that really needs to cultivate, because that's the ultimate moneymaker. So that one you really can't throw any extra shit in the mix to kind of throw that off track. That's the one that needs to stay focused at the top of the card, is Austin versus whoever Vince puts in the ring with him. That can't be touched, because that's the moneymaker. Everything underneath you have time to cultivate. You've caught up to WCW now. You have confidence in yourself. This isn't 1997 where they're kind of like, oh shit, they're kind of scared. They're not sure what to do. They've already lost all these weeks in a row on Nitro. WCW clearly the better product, etc., etc. Now they have confidence. So now they feel, look, top of the card's fine. Austin is there. We got to let him and Vince kind of do their thing, get some other guys in the mix.
No, I get all that. I mean, I'm with you. I know why they didn't make him a world champion right away. You just asked me about his progression, and I felt like he was supposed to step up and become a major player after Shawn left, and I just felt like he hasn't done it yet. That's all.
Well, and that's okay that he, in my opinion, what I'm saying is it's okay that he hasn't done it yet.
All right, then. We're good.
It's okay. We'll get some, it'll come in time. Right now,
I'm fine with it not coming, but I'm okay.
In any event, 2 tickets to Paradise.
X-Pac still injured here, of course. That was part of the reason he left WCW, so he's not wrestling yet. He's at ringside. Mark Henry's at ringside, and so is China. So a lot of action here. Do you think this is a good pairing, these two factions?
Absolutely, because you've got the serious Nation and the funny yet athletic DX. So I think it works well together. I think they work well together. I think it's a good, and it keeps them, again, it's a nice upper mid-card stability storyline.
Yeah.
While the rest of the mid-card kind of is working itself out. I got no problem with it. Good 18.5-minute match. Fun to watch. DX, the Nation gets the win. Finally, Owen gets his uppets on Triple H. Gets him with a pedigree. See, no one thinks they could do that, huh? Oh, he got to pin with his own move. But then again, he is only a mid-card comedy guy, so it's not like 2004 when he gets it with a...
No. Yeah, Owen kind of gets the last laugh finally with this, and we didn't even talk about how Owen turned. He was actually teaming up with Ken Shamrock against the Nation. He turned on Shamrock mid-match, actually bit his ear, and then Pillmanized Shamrock's ankle, put him on the shelf for a little bit. So it was a good turn, and that would set up a feud eventually. So for now, Owen's kind of putting a bow on his feud with Triple H and DX, so he gets the win here. I think it was good for the Nation to go over it, because you're kind of just starting this feud, and they needed a win. Without Rock, they needed a win for the rest of the crew, because they really hadn't had much with D'Lo, Godfather, and Owen just joining. So I think it was shrewd to put them over. You're not really going to hurt DX's heat at all losing there. So
right. So there you go. Owen gets the win for the Nation, gets a pin on Triple H with the pedigree. Which I thought was kind of cool, actually. It was kind of neat to see somebody else execute it. Owen, obviously the exemplary wrestler that he is, did it very well. So there you go. So after that feud started to burgeon, they ran in during the Rock of Faarooq match. Nation gets...
Hey, PTB Nation, it is now time for the Rob Houston Memorial Hacksaw Jim Duggan Update.
Hey, Criscolo, you want to see some poppycock? I'll be over tonight while you're sleeping, you bitch. Here's a Jim Duggan update. May 5th, Saturday night taping, defeated Roadblock. Is he cousins with poppycock? Who gives a shit? Jim Duggan defeated Barry Darso. Where the hell is this? Portland, Maine? Who cares? I don't give a shit. Jim Duggan defeated Brian Adams. I guess he defeated him in the Convocation Center in Cleveland. What's a song by Brian Adams, you jackass?
Heaven.
Heaven! I guess he wasn't in heaven that night! Ha! Let's see. That's it for May for Jim Duggan. Hey, Criscolo, what are you doing on New Year's Eve?
I'm going to go out and have some drinks and toast you, sir.
I need a big, stupid asshole to come play Baby New Year, so put a diaper on, shave that stupid-looking goatee, and get your dumb ass over my house.
Yes, sir.
See you then, poppycock bitch. Suck it! Happy New Year!
He pays me in cash.
Pays you in poppycock.
Oh! He really shouldn't rip Portland, Maine, since he used to book Portland,
Maybe
Maine.
he thought it was Oregon, so you get confused.
Oh, God. So there you go. Nation of Domination. First salvo over the bow of the war with DX as Owen gets the pin for the Nation over Triple H with a pedigree. All right, time for our main event. I love this match. A rematch from Unforgiven.
Randy, is this one of the wrestlers?
Well, it's a couple of wrestlers, Art, actually. Good ones, too. Stone Cold Steve Austin, your World Wrestling Federation champion, in a rematch against Dude Love. Of course, their first match back at Unforgiven ended with some chicanery.
A lot of chicanery. And by the way, I need to just clarify, I definitely screwed up. I thought the chair shot that ended that match is the one that's involved here. So it was not the awesome straight to the face. It was a sideways one. But go ahead.
Yeah. Yep. That one, we'll be talking about that chair shot that you like momentarily.
Okay.
After blowing his chance the previous month, Vince wanted a brand new challenger. Told Dude, you did your thing. You blew it. Hit the bricks. Foley was glad. Says, didn't like Dude Love anyway. Hated what he'd become. Vince said, though, since he had no faith in anyone else, he could earn a title shot by taking out his best friend, Terry Funk, in a hardcore match. So, on the May 4th Raw...
and they say, the joke is, call your friends and tell them to turn the TV on. I literally did that when they announced this match. I remember calling Andy up and saying, put Raw on right now because Mick Foley and Terry Funk are about to have a hardcore match.
Yes, I remember Dr. G and I watching this as well. And it was fun. It was a fun, sloppy brawl.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was good. And Foley got the pin, so guess what? Got another title shot.
Mm-hmm.
And the show ended with the Dude Love music playing, Vince and Foley dancing on the stage with the Dudettes.
Right, so back to being the Dude.
Back to being the Dude. The following week, Vince announced there would be a guest ring announcer, which would be former Intercontinental Champion Pat Patterson, a guest timekeeper, and guest referee. The timekeeper be the esteemed, I like the way he said it, the esteemed Gerald Briscoe.
Yes.
Yeah, he's esteemed. And Vince, tight, jacked out,
oh my
ref
Lord,
shirt and all.
Juiced beyond belief.
Yes, is the guest referee. He also claimed that if any wrestler had the balls, they could stay at ringside as a special enforcer.
Yeah, so I'll come into play in a moment. Now, there's also a couple other things that happened. We had the great segment where a fan wearing a Steve Austin mask jumped out of the crowd and attacked Austin and ended up being Vince, of course, was planted in the crowd. And the next week, he bragged about assaulting Austin, so Austin had Vince arrested with Patterson and Briscoe, and it was a show-long angle. Austin dumped beer all over Vince while he was handcuffed, and they lock him in the squad car, and just good stuff. A lot of fun, classic Raw moments in here.
Yes, absolutely. Right now, when it comes to Raw, the show is just on fire right now. Just top to bottom.
On fire. All right. You mentioned a special guest ring announcer, Scott.
I did.
What's partners with the late Ray Stevens?
Well, for the second guest of the evening.
They're reading this.
This man is like a beating tom-tom heard on the reservation in his native Oklahoma. Inside this man beats the heart of America. Throughout his shining career, which began as an amateur champion at Oklahoma State, this gladiator has truly been the foundation of which this industry was built upon.
What do you think Austin's thinking right now?
He's a loving father.
I'm getting misty.
He's a devoted husband.
Yep. Tears for the glass eyes, they say. Huh?
This man is destined to be the only Native American Indian in the World Wrestling Federation Hall of Fame. There goes Strongbow. Some call him the reincarnation of Jim Thorpe. We call him a friend.
Hey! That sign down.
And ladies and gentlemen, he's a proud co-owner of the Briscoe Brothers Body Shop.
Phone number is 813.
Located at...
Oh, come on. This is my mistake. I should have downloaded this stupid thing ahead of time.
Still, though, that part alone is just absolutely hysterical.
Yes, it is.
The tom-tom on the reservation. It kind of elicits... Kind of goes back to the days of the awesome Ronnie Garvin ring announcing at SummerSlam
He has
89.
2 left feet.
Doesn't know where he's coming or going. This is terrible.
What is it with them and French-Canadian fake ring announcers?
Yeah, so funny. So obviously, the incredible deck is stacked against your champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin, as he gets this match against Dude Love. Rematch from Unforgiven. Everything about this thing is great. Everything about this match is awesome, and I'll tell you why. At Unforgiven, you had a match. You had a solid match with Dude Love and Austin. The problem there was you kind of tried to book story.
Florida.
Nort Hubert.
Yes, that's right. 813.
There's the phone number.
879-4421.
And we know who does the rear end.
It's worth the drive. Your guest timekeeper this evening. For tonight's main event, Jerry Briscoe.
We know who does the rear ends.
Yeah, that's a sneaky joke there by JR.
Yes. The match in Unforgiven was good, but with all the storyline aspects of it kind of let it go astray. It kind of lost focus in some moments. So it could have been a better match than it actually was.
Right.
What I loved what they did here was they laid the storyline out into the match already and let the match kind of take it from there. It was already laid out what the storyline points were, and the match kind of directed itself from there. Instead of the match being there and the storyline got thrown in afterwards and kind of wrecked it. Here it's different. You have your guest ref, you have your timekeeper, you already know what the stakes are, and the match kind of went from there. Unbelievable. These two have great chemistry. I tell you, all the guys you ever think about that Austin had great matches with throughout his run, I don't think these two matches get anywhere near the respect or the cred that they deserve.
Oh, I think this one does.
This one does. I mean,
Unforgiven gets overlooked, but this I think this is pretty revered. I mean, it's just a phenomenal match. It completely carries this pay-per-view. And yeah, it's just awesome. I mean, if anyone hasn't seen this match, please put it on now. But I'm sure pretty much everyone has. It's on a bunch of DVDs and it's been featured a lot. Non-stop brawl. We should mention Undertaker comes out as the special enforcer that Vince had allowed for, And the pop for him is insane as well. Austin just gets maybe the biggest pop to date. Crowd just goes, batshit when he comes out.
Yeah,
and the match is just a sprint. 22 minutes. They brawl over near the set where there's all kind of like demolished cars as part of the Over the Edge theme. And, Mick gets backdropped off one of them. And Austin's, just going all out here. And a lot of heat. And, with Vince in the ring and the deck stacked against him, Undertaker out there, this is great. This is great booking. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, the chair shot at the end, which I mentioned last month, I got confused, is the one where Vince is stuck in the corner and Austin just bashes him in the face with a chair. And Vince has since said that it knocked the caps off his teeth. He hit him so hard. He collapses in the ring, and then Briscoe comes in. He tries to get involved. Undertaker pulls him out, chokeslams him through a table. Patterson does the same, and that's one of my favorite chokeslams of all time. Taker drops him through a table. Patterson gets so much height, and his fat ass goes flying through the table. And then Taker, wreaking havoc in the ring. Austin hits the stunner on Dude and counts because Vince had said the only winner will be determined by my own hand. So Austin picks up Vince's limp hand and counts to 3 with it to say, well, it was by Vince's hand. He didn't count on his own volition, but a fantastic match, 5 stars, easy. Probably the best match since what? Austin Brett at 13? Best WWF match?
Yeah, probably.
Or maybe since Stampede.
Well, Stampede's main event, singles match.
Yeah, best singles match since 13. Yeah.
Since him and Brett at 13. I loved Taker in this role. He was awesome. Taker was just a he was more than even his normal worldly character. He was just like, no shit's going down on my watch.
Right.
It's just awesome. I just love the way he...
And he's not here to help Austin. He's here to fuck with Vince, because him and Vince have been having some words too lately. Yeah. And Undertaker had been interesting during this time as well. He was not happy with all the Kane stuff, and he was actually coming on a Raw each week, and just like, or one night he came out and just wiped guys out throughout the show. So he's kind of at odds with Vince as well. And Vince was almost kind of starting to unite with Kane a little bit. So a lot of faction positioning going on here, and Austin and Undertaker almost became uneasy allies. Didn't want to be friends or pals, but they were almost forced to due to the issues with Vince.
Yes, and that leads to much better stuff down through the next few months into the summertime.
Yeah.
This is a great, but this is just a great match, and Foley deserves a lot of credit as well. Everyone thinks Mick was in great shape when he had his match with Shawn at Mind Games, but he was a little chunkier than he was then, but still really deserves a lot of credit for this match. He really brought his
Which match do you like better?
This one.
You like this better than Mind Games?
I like this, yeah, because I think everything else, because I think it's more entertaining. Shawn and him is a good match. But it didn't entertain me as a package like this one did. Just and
Mick had a better defined characters. Dude, love all the stuff he was doing, and he almost is funny because he kind of went the anti-hardcore route, but he ends up having a pretty hardcore match here. But he was more fully developed, and the storyline was better. Shawn and Mankind and Mind Games is more of just a match thrown together, and they went out and delivered a classic. But I agree. I think this one's probably the one that holds up just slightly better. I don't know if it holds up better. It was better in the moment for sure. It still holds up very well though. It's fantastic. I don't know.
It really is, and it's on.
You're picking nits with these two.
Yeah. As JR mentioned, it's on 3 DVDs on both of Mick's main ones, which is the Hard Knocks and Cheap Pops. Is that the one that's got that awesome? Well, we won't talk about that awesome.
Yeah.
Commentary. Okay, good. That's a good one to have. And his hits and misses, greatest hits and misses. It's on that too, and it's on Austin's 4-disc, that one that came out end of 2011, I guess. Yeah.
Do you think this is the first? I'm trying to think of the way to word this, but the first great main event of the Attitude Era?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's slightly better than...
We've had very good ones.
Yeah. I think this was slightly better than him and Shawn at 14, only because Shawn was not 100%. If Shawn was 100%, that match would have been incredible. But if you want to talk about the way that an Attitude Era match, main event match, would be laid out over the next 4 years.
Yeah, the template.
Yes. If you want to say, it might be safe to say, JR, this might be where the template was born.
I agree. I would say 100% it is.
Yeah, this is definitely where the template...
Wild brawling, out into the floor,
Shit going on around the ringside.
Kind
JR
of that
out.
And that ECW mentality where it may not be a no DQ, but we allow it anyway, or the last minute they'd say it's no DQ. And that I think that's what happens here. So a lot of that kind of booking on the fly with the rules and stuff. So I think, yeah, I agree 100%. I think this is exactly where the template was laid out for these kind of matches.
Yep, and this would be what... Now, would it always work? No. It all depends on who's in the ring. But this is the way. You have two guys. You have kind of a... not really a script, but here's what you need to get from A to B. I leave it to you to do to figure it out how. That's pretty much how the Attitude Era template went. Here's your A point. Here's your B point. You got to get to the B point. How you get there, I'm leaving up to you. Now, obviously, you had producers and agents, but if you have two good, particularly a guy like Austin, if you have two good workers, not just work rate, but just guys who get it, then you have no problem. There were other times where you had maybe the equation wasn't always clean. And then you have your storyline plots, guest refs, guys at ringside, announcers, all that other kind of jazz.
All right, let me ask you this. Did you want to see a third match with I guess we can continue this once we get to King of the Ring, but at this point, did you want to see a third match with these guys?
If they gave me another one like that, absolutely.
Okay, so you wanted this feud you thought it had legs to continue?
Absolutely.
All right, and with Vince involved, I think anyone could be plugged in, and if you were going to get a great match. Again, when we get to King of the Ring, we'll talk about what was rumored and what happened, but yeah, I think...
Mick again. Absolutely.
Because, you can argue there was some shenanigans here, the chair and everything else, and Vince doesn't really count the pin. I guess they had legs for a third straight month, but...
Foley could have come out the following night and said, look, Vince, I can do this. I can beat him, but you're the one that's the problem. Give me something. Just give me him. Stay out of it. And then you can lead to...
Did you think he should have kept... Do you think he should have kept the Dude Love thing going?
Yeah, because
you thought
it's annoying.
they still had some...
Yeah, because it's annoying. You don't want to turn him into Mankind, because that's... And obviously the Cactus thing was
So you think there was still gas in the tank with the Dude Love, this character had going on?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Because it's just annoying enough that it's working on the heel side for Vince.
I agree. I've enjoyed it too. Yeah, I didn't like it at first. When he first did it at the time, I was very unhappy that they went away from Cactus. But
well, I did. I loved it.
After watching it, for the couple months, I thought it was great.
Yeah. Because it's annoying, and Vince likes it, and we're not supposed to like things Vince likes. So it worked out perfectly. Fantastic match. If you haven't seen it, and we know PTB Nation very well, we know most of you have. But just in the case you haven't, again, it's on 2 of Mick Foley's DVDs, and it's on Stone Cold's 4-disc that came out at the end of last year, which most people have. So I'm sure you can find it on demand if you have it or something like that. So, but don't miss this match.
Don't miss it.
Don't miss it. It's the template by which the Attitude Era main event was built.
Yep.
All right. How would you grade this?
It's tough because the undercard was just not great.
Undercard was awful.
But the thing though, Scott, at this point, we've had bad undercards in the past, but the crowd is so into the product right now that it does help prop these things up, and the characters are getting a bit more vibrant, but the matches themselves are suffering. Outside the Mero thing and the Vader calling himself a fat piece of shit, and the DX Nation match was pretty good. You have to go up until that point. You're looking at like a D, I think, until the main event. And the main event is like an A++. So I'd say middle of the road, carried completely by the main event.
Yes. As you look at
the main event's 23 minutes. When you factor in the post stuff and the pre with the introductions with Patterson and all this shit, you're close to like 35, 40 minutes with the video packages and everything else. And to me, that's like a third of the show. So it should wait, appropriately. And if you factor in the DX match, which was pretty good, you're looking at, almost half the show in a way. So, it's, you got to weight it. You can't just say one match of 8 was good. You got to say, it was the biggest match that ate up the most time was the best. So, to me, that weighs heavily, as opposed to if the opener that went 10 minutes was awesome and the rest sucked, it would weigh differently.
Yes. And, again, the undercard is... It's got a couple of entertaining moments, but the reality of it is it's just not very good. And yes, you're taken aback by it, but like you've said, you honestly start to get used to it after a while. That the undercard's not going to be, Flair Steamboat, but you're going to get some entertaining moments, and then the main event usually is pretty good, depending who's in it. So, we both gave it close to middle of the road. I gave it a C. You gave it a C+. You actually graded higher than I did.
Man, is Dan Snyder getting fat, or was he always that fat? I thought he was like skinny.
Snyder? No, he always looked like that.
Oh, okay.
Dan. Yeah, he was
Sorry.
like that. $2.1 billion, Forbes says the Cowboys are worth. No, still 7-7, by the way. Cowboys have the ball. About 9.5 to go third quarter. All right, let's. You heard from us.
Mm-hmm.
Let us hear from you. I'll go first this time.
Okay.
All right. Of course, I picked Wayne.
Wayne May. God. Would it kill you to at least put the effort in to learn who the nation members are?
Wayne. Some guy named Wayne. No, Wayne May.
Wayne Bloom.
Wayne Bloom. Number 367 on the PWI 500. All right. I remember being pretty excited for this show, mostly because of the very good, memorable build-up. The undercard was decent, but largely forgettable. However, all of that pales in comparison to the classic main event between Steve Austin and Dude Love. Everything about that match screams classic, and it still holds up today very well. And overall, this show was better than WCW's Slamboree pay-per-view that same month. Interesting. You read the next one, JR, and I'm going to look up that show.
The Hardcore Hillbilly, Ashley Cruz. This is just a two-match show, honestly. DX versus The Nation, which is pretty good. And the main event, Austin versus Dude Love, which is probably the definition of a show saver. An amazing match with lots of drama surrounding it as the deck seems stacked against Austin. Austin using Vince's limp hand to count, and you know all about that. To count the three is a true iconic moment of 1998 and WWF in general. And let me bang out Ryan Schmock here while you're looking that up. Over the Edge 98 to end the month of May. LOD versus Skull and 8 Ball's okay. Jarrett Blackman wasn't bad. Mero Sable, waste of time. El Gigante versus Dennis Stamp would have been better. The Japanese group with the 1980s Mr. Fuji lookalike Yamaguchi-san versus Bradshaw and Taka is okay. Rook versus no Faarooq.
Rook and Faarooq.
Rook and Faarooq. Kane Vader's okay. Nation DX is good from start to finish. Mad Dog Vachon and Crusher get physical with Lawler. Austin Dude Love is good, and Taker involved with the main event good. Overall, good event.
Okay. 2 weeks before, Slamboree 98 took place on May 17th from the Centrum in Worcester.
Yes.
Look at that, right in your backyard. Well, you hadn't, right? You had just graduated. You were just about to graduate from high school, so you weren't even in Worcester yet. All right, WCW TV champion Fit Finlay pinned Chris Benoit with the tombstone. Lex Luger defeated Bryan Adams via submission with the torture rack. I got something about Chris Benoit I want to talk about with Graham this week. It just reminded me of something. You always say this guy's name. I blow it all the time. Cyclope. Oh, I was close. Won a Cruiserweight Battle Royal, but due to pre-match stipulations, he earned an immediate WCW Cruiserweight title match. Other participants included Evan Courageous, Damien,
okay. Every other jobber Cruiserweight.
Yeah, El Dandy, El Grillo, Hoovy, Chavo, Marty Jannetty, Kidman, Lenny Lane, etc., etc. By the way, after the match, Cyclope unmasked to reveal himself as
Dino Machino.
That's right.
That was one of the biggest pops of like the year in WCW when he unmasked, because that was the whole storyline where he had quit during the feud with Jericho, and he unmasked here, made his return, and the crowd just goes apeshit, and then Malenko beats Jericho for the Cruiserweight title.
Puts him in the Clover
the new Cruiserweight champion right here.
Yeah. Eddie Guerrero pinned Ultimo Dragon at 11:10 with a brainbuster and the frog splash after Dragon accidentally knocked Chavo off the ring apron when Eddie moved out of the way. Stipulation stated Chavo would win his freedom from Eddie if Dragon won. After the contest, Chavo cornered Eddie and acted as though he was going to attack him, but then attacked Dragon instead, with Chavo shoving Eddie away when Eddie tried to stop him.
Yeah, this started the whole awesome Chavo wearing the Eddie Guerrero's My Hero shirt, and when he goes, Chavo goes crazy.
It's actually on Eddie's Viva la Raza DVD. Excellent set, by the way. DDP pinned Raven in a Bowery death match. WCW U.S. champion Bill Goldberg pinned Perry Saturn. Bret Hart defeated Randy Savage. Roddy Piper was the guest referee for the bout. And Sting and the Giant defeated the WCW Tag Team Champions, the Outsiders, with Dusty Rhodes, to win the titles. One of the few times Dusty was a heel.
And the next night, Scott, they were actually in Providence. I was there. That was for that terrible Nitro that started at 7 due to the playoffs. It was only 1 hour. Lex Luger and Bryan Adams was the dark match, and Jim and I could not get out of there quick enough to get home and watch Raw. We did not enjoy it. It was a waste. It was terrible. It was like 1 hour of just nothing. It was most of it was a promo. And actually, Luger Adams was on the show, and then the dark match was the preview of the upcoming Bash match, which was Hogan and Brett against Savage and Luger, Savage and Piper, which you think would be awesome, but they were in street clothes and half-assing it because it was a dark match, and it had a long Eric Bischoff promo before the show. He was sitting on a Harley and all this other crap, and just not fun.
Terrible. Was that that wasn't the show that I always say, that wasn't the show that led to the...
No, that was a house show later in there.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. So there you go. There was Slamboree 98 2 weeks before
right.
Over the Edge.
Your reward...
Maybe we'll do that.
I wouldn't...
I know we did do it in 97, but...
For what?
Kind of maybe look at that month's WCW pay-per-view quickly.
Oh, okay, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, well, so we'll start
and
doing that
your
now.
reward for digging that card up is you get to read this novel by Corey Ferreira.
Yes, of course. Corey Ferreira. LOD versus DOA. Why the fuck is DOA around? This match is bad and not a good way to start off a show. Jeff Jarrett versus Steve Blackman. The odd pay-per-view pairing returns here with a poor match. I think I mark for Blackman, but this is bad. Kai and Tai versus Taka and Bradshaw. Kai and Tai make their way to the WWF. These guys were great in Japan, but it sucks how they are booked in this run. Heels get the win. Also, Taka and Bradshaw were a nice pair together. Mark Mero versus Sable. This barely qualifies as a match. Mero wins to get heat. Rock versus Faarooq. This is fucking bad, like really bad. Rock wins. Kane versus Vader. Another really bad match. I guess the point of the mask match was to get interest in seeing Kane unmasked, but what's the point of unmasking Vader when you can clearly see his face while his mask is on? Kane kills Vader again, and if I remember well, Vader refers to himself as a fat piece of shit after this match. Nation versus DX. Well, we get a good version of a gang war here and not that fucking biker versus Mexican gangster shit. Thank you, Corey. Match isn't that good. DX are really over by this point and well-established faces. Nation win to continue their feud in future months. Steve Austin versus Dude Love. Great match, and a match which saves the show from being a complete bomb. The idea of having McMahon, Briscoe, and Patterson all be at ringside here is great, and the videos they did for Vince, Pat, and Jerry in the weeks leading up to this are classic, in my opinion. Austin and Foley beat the piss out of each other, and they even have Taker show up to scare the living shit out of Vince. Austin retains the belt as he continues to carry the WWF. And here is, speaking of Dave Meltzer, here are his rankings. The opener, half star. Jarrett Blackman, half star. Mark Mero Sable, no rating. Kai and Tai Bradshaw Taka, 2.5. Rock Faarooq, -1. Kane Vader, dud. Nation DX, 1.5. Steve Dude, 4.5.
Yeah, so Meltzer kind of, along with our lines, were shit on a card. Great main event. Yes. And now it is time for the King. King James Mander.
Welcome, King.
A few thoughts on this Over the Edge pay-per-view. This is another pay-per-view. It's a pretty horrendous undercard, but a great main event. Legion of Doom an absolute mess by this point, especially Hawk, who couldn't have been allowed in the ring. And their match with DOA is embarrassing by their standards. It was funny watching Faarooq completely miss the steel chair with his pile driver on the Rock. Worse still, JR was trying to make out that his head definitely hit the chair. What a fool, what a knave. Then again, JR also said on this night, see, Blackman has so much natural ability. I was nearly sick to my royal stomach when I heard that sentence. It's amazing what a short memory the WWF thinks we have, especially when you consider we are treated to a mask versus mask match, which I'm a lot of guessing what Vader's face may really look like. I think we all know that Vader takes his mask off pretty much every match, and any of his matches that go over 5 minutes, that is. JR comes out to another good can anybody stop Kane. He looks to be unstoppable. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've seen that take a beat him twice in the last 2 months. Chance of boring gathered during the 6-man tag, but it was great to see the Nation get the win, with Owen Hart scoring the pin on that big-nosed prick. Finally, a great main event between Steve Austin and Dude Love, with Mr. McMahon playing his part brilliantly. A much improved match compared to their one and Unforgiven, with the constant rule changes made the match more enjoyable. Overall, not a great show, but the signs are looking good, with plenty to build upon. And this is the King. I'm going back to my castle, where I need a lozenge. Thank you.
Thank you, King.
Thank you.
Craig Dickinson. First 2 matches are... This is his debut post.
Yeah, welcome,
First
Craig.
2 matches. Welcome, Craig. First 2 matches are best off forgotten. LOD versus DOA was depressing to watch, and who really cared about Jarrett versus Blackman? Rock has a fun, cheap heat segment, and Faarooq comes out to deliver the first pile driver of the night. There are about 6 or 7 over the course of this show. Funny to think the move would be banned a few years later. Kai and Tai versus Taka and Bradshaw was okay. It's a shame the WWF never let the 4 Japanese guys go out and work their own style. A 4-way for Taka's light heavyweight title could have been fun. The finish of this match makes Bradshaw look like a goof, as Taka is pinned about 3 feet away from him, and he doesn't break it up. Rock versus Faarooq is slow and sloppy, with a horrendous false finish. Rocky winning is the only good part. Kane vs. Vader is a boring kick-punch affair with the mask versus mask stipulation telegraphs the result. DX vs. Nation, the effort is there, but this match goes long and the crowd loses interest. Nice to see Owen get a win over Triple H after his repeated jobbing earlier in the year. JR gets the line of the night with Mark Henry just jerked China off the apron.
He'll do that a lot during this stretch.
Yes. Austin and Dude Love top their Unforgiven match with a fantastic brawl. Both guys take some nasty bumps around the entranceway, and props to Vince for eating another brutal chair shot. Fantastic main event that really saved the show after a pretty shocking undercard. And that's it. Well, welcome again, Craig Dickinson, to Place to Be Nation.
Craig Dickinson. Hang on one sec. All right, up next we have... I just refreshed to make sure we had no new ones. Ed Harris! This is my life, whatever that movie is. Milk Money. Another one-match show with the previous month. It's a great main event with Austin Foley. I'm generally not a fan of Russo's style of storytelling, but in this case, it works perfectly. And let me grab Steve Rogers as well. Steve Rogers, by the way, the man. Have you checked our Place to Be Gmail account lately, Scott?
I have. He's
some poignant emails from Steve.
Yes. Keep them coming.
The Highway to Hell, the SummerSlam begins in earnest for one of the hottest summers WWF would ever have. Good stuff as Faarooq Rock Turf War ends. See you in the Not Yet APA Ron. Damn. Not sure why Kane Vader had to be a mask versus mask, as Vader's mask is essentially like having a domino mask. And sadly, it continues the devaluation of Vader's character that started back in late 96. And great stuff out of the main event as Mick continued to provide the goods and hopefully will land him in the Hall of Fame right here in New Jersey. It is sad, though, that next year's tragic event will cause the title of the show to be retired. It's a great name for a feud-building show.
Wade Ferrari. Decent show with the main event and the six-man tag being the two standout matches. I didn't really get why Kane was still feuding with Vader, who was pretty much dead in the water at this point. Having the mask versus mask stipulation was dumb and made the outcome even more predictable than it normally would have been. Also, why would Vader even care about losing his mask when it fell off in almost every match he was ever in anyways? Really enjoyed the six-man tag with DX versus the Nation. Good work from everyone involved. Nice to see Owen finally get one over on Triple H. I thought Owen joining the Nation was a good idea as it really made some sense in the storyline, and as he had been outnumbered and beaten up by DX for months, causing him to snap and align himself with a group of heels in desperation so he could have backup. Main event was great. Dude Love was kind of an odd choice to be Austin's first title challenger, I thought, but they ended up getting two good pay-per-view main events out of him, so I can't complain about it too much.
Dennis Nunez, Dear Mother of God, is that main event awesome. Austin versus Dude with Vince as the ref. This is going to be one of the greatest matches of all time. Everything about it's great. Pat's introductions to Austin and Foley beating the holy shit out of each other, to JR and King's commentary. This match has it all. There's a certain number of matches that I watch whenever I need an energy boost, and this is one high on that list. I remember when Taker's about to chokeslam Pat through the announcer's table, screaming, and I'm going to do my best Nunez here, Kill him, yeah! Hey, I was 12. I could be wrong, but I remember barely hearing the commentary during the original broadcast because the crowd was so loud. Who could blame them? Vince's crazy tight referee shirt was also hilarious to behold, without question one of the greatest WWF title matches of the Attitude Era and pay-per-view history.
Dave Hall, runner-up of the first annual PTB trivia tournament.
Keep rubbing it in.
I want him to get back. Come back for 2013. We are treated to another brilliant main event with a very mediocre undercard. The Battle of the Initials starts us in underwhelming style, and then the style of Jarrett and Blackman leaves us longing for the gang wars.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either, yeah. We get a great little Raw-like segment with Rock and Faarooq. The pay-per-view debut of Kai and Tai is fun. Taka and unlikely ally Bradshaw help provide our first watchable match of the night. Rock is unable to lift the game of Faarooq, and we all cheer wildly when the People's Champ retains his IC title. Kane and Vader go one more time, and again, Kane destroys the Mastodon. The DX vs. Nation match is entertaining. Newly turned faces DX bring the excitement, and Owen Hart finally gets a win over Hunter. Sadly, now we want Hunter to come out on top. Finally, we have the awesome main event. This match is arguably probably my favorite Austin title defense of 98. He and Dude Love again tear the house down, aided by our new favorite guest ref, Vince McMahon. Patterson and Briscoe are hysterical in their roles, and it all comes together for a great main event. Even Taker at ringside helps the story of the match. A fun show stealing and saving main event.
All right, the 50-year-old virgin, Jay D'Amato. Poor Vader. Look at me. I'm so big. I'm nothing but a fat piece of shit. No arguments there. And Jay Hinchy over the edge heads back to Milwaukee. Not a bad pay-per-view. I remember watching it a couple times and not really liking it overall, but a couple years ago watched it again on YouTube, and it turned out better. LOD DOA kicked things off in a feud that would carry on well into the fall, with Road Warriors getting the win. Jarrett takes on Blackman, with Double J scoring the win in an okay match. Mero Sable's your typical Vince Russo-style booking, with Mero scoring a quick pinfall, and Sable's fired for now. Kai and Tai winning their pay-per-view debut against Taka and Bradshaw in a 2-on-3 handicap bout. Rock keeps the IC title in a short match against the former Nation leader Faarooq. I did like Rock's promo before the match, ripping on Milwaukee, and Faarooq coming out to drop him with the pile driver. Kane Vader mask match, although I'm not sure why, since we knew what Vader looked like, but Kane wins to end their feud. DX vs. the Nation was next. This is my favorite faction feud. Match is solid, and everyone worked hard, with Owen Hart scoring the win on Triple H. Finally, an awesome main event for the WWF title between Austin and Dude Love. Vince once again stacks the deck against Austin, having himself as referee, Patterson and Briscoe as timekeeper and announcer. Great match. Vince takes another wicked chair shot, which leads to Austin counting the fall with Vince's limp hand. One of the best moments of the Attitude Era. Overall, not a bad pay-per-view, and things really heat up in the summer of 98.
And finally, Steve Willie was pleased to be at this show live. I'm one of the socially awkward 20-somethings holding up signs spelling out "Duck Crusher." I was I was already familiar with Kai and Tai through tape trading, so besides the main event, this was the biggest match on the card for me.
And that will do it for your feedback, Scott. We didn't get called out, or we didn't notice anything that we didn't mention, but there is something I forgot to say, and it pissed me off, is after the mask match, when Paul Bearer puts on Vader's mask and does the Vader thing and struts around, is fantastic. I really always enjoyed that.
Yes, I forgot about that too. Yes, that is very good.
All right, do you want to give an update on your game before we go?
Yeah, well, admittedly a nice bootleg by RG3, looking about 20 yards out, pending the extra point with looks like about 2.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Redskins now lead the Cowboys 14-7. So still plenty of time left. 3:10 actually. So I was only off by 40 seconds.
And just to give an update.
That's good.
Okay, just to give an update for you people wondering if this is the first thing you're listening to. Next Saturday, January 5th, 4:30 will be Cincinnati at Houston, and 8 o'clock will be Minnesota at Green Bay, both on NBC. 1 o'clock on Sunday, Indy at Baltimore, CBS, and then Seattle at the winner of this game on Fox at 4:30.
Yes.
So there you have it. And there you have it for Over the Edge. Another fun show, Scott, back in the Vintage Vault groove.
Yep, absolutely.
We got some interesting things coming this week. Wednesday, Graham Cawthon joins us for the first time in a while. We're going to review the year that was wrestling in 2012. We have a thread out there on the bigelow34.proboards.com message board. It is in the Place to Be podcast discussion forum, and if you find it there, we have a bunch of categories where you can kind of sound off with your votes. So I'm going to tally them up on Wednesday. I'm going to shut it down probably like mid-afternoon Wednesday, lock it and tally the votes, and we'll read the winners amongst the nation, the tallies there, and then you, me, and Graham will give ours as well. So really looking forward to that. Kind of a unique show.
Absolutely. And that begins 2013.
Yeah, and we might have a little treat over the weekend as well. We'll see.
Yep, possibly.
Yeah, something a little special. And then next week we'll be back King of the Ring. And then is that next week's JJ, isn't it?
Next week from Thursday.
Wow, crazy. It's already here.
Yep. Email him at the end of this week and beginning of next week and set everything up, and I think we'll have a good time.
King of the Ring will be Tuesday, right? We're off Monday.
Yes.
Oh, yes, your big Notre Dame national championship game.
Yes, Monday night and down in South Beach. So I have something to look forward to if this game ends in a mess. I do have that to look forward to.
So Tuesday night, next Tuesday will be King of the Ring, and next Thursday is JJ. So a little bit different schedule.
Yep.
So that is that. Thanks for listening, Nation. Hope you have a great New Year's Eve. Please be smart and safe. Don't do anything stupid. And that's it. For Scott, I'm Justin. We will talk to you Wednesday night with Graham, and have a great New Year. We'll see you next year, I guess, right?
Yeah, next year, new poppycock.
A lot of poppycock. I'm going to eat tons of it New Year's Eve.
Eddie Money does, too.
Oh.
Oh.